I've seriously never seen houseplants spring up this quickly before. Maybe I should have just gone with hostas straight from the get-go. Wow! Alright, houseplant time is over. Now, it's time to answer my colleagues' questions about computers to get into YouTubing with.
The wacky world of MultimediaJay.
A while back, one of my IRL colleagues expressed interest in becoming a YouTuber. He messaged me and he was like, "Hey Jay, what kind of computer should I buy if I want to start a small YouTube channel and do some basic video editing?" Well, I've been building my own systems for 20 years, so I didn't have a very good answer for him, because my systems just keep on keeping on. They just work. If I were starting from scratch, what would I guess? That was actually something I thought about for a while, and then I decided to actually do a little experiment, where I took some of my own systems and tried to start doing some basic YouTubing on them via video editing and all kinds of other stuff. And so here we are today. It's time for the experiment. This is probably going to be a little on the redundant side because I'm going to be doing the same thing with all the computers that I want to test out here. But I decided to brainstorm some avenues of approach, or whatever you want to call it, that my colleague could take when he went shopping for something. So here's what we're going to do. We have Nerdovo, underneath it we have the Turdshiba, and of course the ever so, whatever you want to call it, Dellasaurus Rex, representing three ways that my colleague throat's a little sore, so I'm having a hard time saying my consonants like guh. Three routes my colleague could go. This is not gonna be easy. Whatever. Three routes my colleague could go down in order to set up a computer for the YouTube channels that he wants to do. So first, he could walk into a store and buy an off-the-shelf system, which would most likely be a laptop, because you can get a decent amount of CPU in a laptop these days. You don't have to buy a separate screen. You can fold it up when you're done and put it on the shelf or something, and you can just plug in a mouse and plop it on a desk, and it doesn't even have to be a permanent fixture. So we're going to use Nerdovo, which is running a Core i5, circa 2021, Tiger Lake, I believe it is. So it actually has more CPU power than Monolith. It just doesn't have any graphical capability. Not the first time I've had a laptop pull ahead of my main system after one of my main systems, keep it in order here, one of my main systems started getting a few years on it. Underneath we have the Turdshiba, a piece of junk that is probably best used as a platform / drink coaster, whatever, that we're currently using it for now, representing a second-hand laptop. Unfortunately, it has issues with thermal throttling because it's basically had dumb little things breaking on it the whole time I got it. So it's a piece of junk representing the secondhand market. And lastly, we have Dellasaurus Rex, which is a Dell Optiplex 9010 with a Core i7 Ivy bridge, the sort of corporate refurb machine that you would find on the refurb circuit. I've taken the liberties of removing the 1050 Ti graphics card that I normally have in this thing and set it all back to integrated graphics, basically representing a crappy refurb that should have enough CPU to edit video on. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to install a 30-day trial of Corel Video Studio 2020 on all three of these, and we're going to work with a completed file, moving around in it, changing a few things in it, and we're also going to basically do video editing, add some files and stuff along those lines, and build up a video from scratch. I just got done making a video on Monolith, so I know what it looks like when it's right, and when the process goes smoothly, because the system is more than powerful enough to do video editing. Let's see how all these systems stack up, beginning with Nerdovo. Nerdovo, being an off-the-shelf system, has a pretty decent processor in it, but I think it might be a little chuggy because of only 8 gigs of RAM. I've been using 16 gigs of RAM to make videos for years, but we'll see if the extra speed in the processor can make up for whatever issues the RAM might cause. Let's install Corel Video Studio. We're just going to install the trial to do some really basic video editing. So let's just do this, and let's see how clunky it got. Yeah, agree to the license, of course. I know it'll expire in 30 days. I will probably uninstall it in 30 days. Registration, can we skip that? No, we gotta type some stuff in here. Oh well. So the first thing we're gonna take a look at is just what it's like to install the software. Is it a huge chore? Does it go smoothly? What exactly do we get for an experience here? So let's see. Oh well, it does have to download. And because we're on wireless, this is going to take a while because it's on wireless. Alright, let's go do something else then. Blech! One of the reasons why I want to redo my wireless. This is like fast broadband from 10 years ago. This'll take a while. It's important to note that Nerdovo is basically an ultrabook and doesn't have any Ethernet built in. I'd have to buy a USB adapter. So whatever my wireless can do, and wireless is traditionally behind wired in this house because I usually don't do really important stuff over wireless. This is one of the rare exceptions. Alright, Corel is up and running on Nerdovo, so we're going to start with some light-duty stuff here. So we're going to relink all the broken clips, because the directory is now wrong, because we copied it over from another computer with different things in different folders. So, let's see. Let's actually try and fix this up, and then see what it's like to crunch the video. It's probably going to be all messed up, because the timestamps are going to be wrong, but I just want to see what this kind of processor, what it is that we're looking at here. Yep, this should do it. Let's see if SmartLink links the others back up. Open. Ah, it only just did that one. Oh, alright. Let's see if we can carte blanche it by opening the file. Nice! Carte blanche worked for the regular clips here. Everything's kind of broken though. Yeah, there's no music because the music's still broken. But we're already getting a preview on here and we're already able to do this kind of stuff with this. So let's see if we can do smart linking to link the other assets back up that are in the same folder. Ah, this time it's the raster clip. So we're probably going to have to keep opening the file and relinking all the clips because they don't have similar file names, and that will actually allow all of the instances of whatever it is to get relinked. This is all part of the smart search thing for moving everything over. This so far has been a really smooth process. You just sit back and watch the computer do its thing. Okay, the clips should all be relinked right now. How well does this thing run? Ooh. It's struggling a little with playing the preview. Or something like that. Alright! Let's continue. So it's totally scuffed. It lost the timestamps. It lost the timestamps for everything that was edited. It made them the same length, but it started at the beginning of the clips. So everything is going to be screwed up. However, what we do have here is a completed file, now that we've relinked everything. See, this is going to work correctly because it's pre-edited. Yeah. This will be fine, but I'll bet any money this other one's screwed up.
The wacky world of MultimediaJay.
This will be fine, but the minute there's audio, you're going to hear a gap because it's going to start at the beginning of the clip. See this. So this new TV setup has definitely taken some getting used to. So what did it screw up at the beginning? Alright, screwed up the fade. It's having trouble with the preview. Or something like that. Alright! Let's continue. Yeah, I think it pulled the wrong file or something. So, it pulled the wrong file when it relinked everything. So, well, we'll just take the screw up as is. And let's see what it's like to crunch this video. Alright, we're just going to save this as is. And we're going to use the task manager just to see how much this thing gets pummeled. So, save as project settings, go! Alright, how's the preview looking? It looks like the processor is being weird. Okay, 74, 75. Looks like it's using about 3/4 of the processor. So yeah, it's struggling a little with the fancy, renderings and stuff like that. But I imagine that'll be a thing. So let's see. All right, let's see here. Obviously, this computer needs to be something he could walk away from and just leave it crunching. So let's see if it finishes. Well, this thing's really chugging. Already at 74%. Here's the historical processor usage. So it's making use of all the logical cores and all the other stuff. This is a 4.8, just like the Skylake is, but it actually has more CPU power. So it just goes to show, even if you don't have a graphics card, Intel QuickSync can actually work really well for this. And I should also mention on the Intel side of things that QuickSync, actually this is a newer processor. I probably won't get as good of, I'm probably not going to get as good of results with the older processor and Dellasaurus Rex. But this being Tiger Lake and whatnot, I should actually see how good the video looks. That might be a reason to get something newer later on. So, alright, so there, yeah, look, router. We're actually almost done. So, we'll check out the video. We know it's going to be wrong because the clip relinked all weird and stuff. Actually, we could probably just relink everything all over again. Just grab the file. Here we go. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. This will be what slows it down at the end. This turned out to be a pretty easy render. Then we'll go in, we'll do some more complicated work on the other file and see what it's like to actually bring in video clips. Does it get chuggy when you have a fast processor but only 8 gigs of RAM in a laptop that you're using to edit videos? Whoa! Maybe this is why this thing, there it goes. Maybe this is why this new processor has more punch despite being a laptop chip. It's turboing up to 4.2 gigahertz. I think I have that disabled on the Skylake to save power. 4.2 gigahertz in a laptop. Just call this thing portable Monolith and be on your way. Looks jerky. Or something like that. Alright! Let's continue. Looks okay otherwise, but it looks like it's sub 30 FPS. Hold on a second. Yeah, this is smoother. The jerkiness was being introduced by the software. Maybe it's a limitation of it being a free trial. But we were able to actually edit the video together and, basically re-crunch it. Let's see how pokey it is. Obviously, you're going to want to register your software so you don't have, restrictions for using a trial version. But let's actually go back in there and use the empty file now and try placing some video to try and make the tech video from scratch. Let's see how it handles, pokey stuff like that. Okay, this is the empty one that doesn't have any video in it. So let me go here and, nope, that's not it. New TV story continues. So the way these usually work is we want to bring this in. So we want to bring this in. We want to be able to move the slider around to where it starts. The camera starts moving. We want to be able to cut that there, and then let's see. We want to stop it before the camera stops moving. Oops. Go back to clip. Go back to project mode. Back to the beginning. On the clip, we want to go back to where it stops moving. So we want to cut that there. Now we want to grab another clip. So we'll do this. And this is a zoom shot, so we want to set it to where it's zooming. Start there, and let's end pretty much where it ends. And new TV story. Alright, here's 15. Way, way different. The other thing I do, of course, is get rid of the dead spots in the audio. So I'll turn on audio mode, and I will do this. And then let's just cut it here, because this is where it's going to switch off to the overlay. So let me just cut that there. And we should have essentially the beginning of the video. This wasn't all that bad, getting all these clips together. Oh yeah, let's make sure we mute the audio for those. Let's make sure we mute the audio for those. There's not going to be any transitions, or maybe we should put some transitions in. So let me turn this on. And attribute, do I have transitions? I should have some basic ones in here, because even though it's the free version. So give me my crossfade. I want to crossfade this, and I want to crossfade that, and I want to go back and I want to make sure that everything lines up for when the music drops. So I want to go here and then make this longer again. And here is the result. It's going to be a little screwy. It's going to be a little screwy. Hey, the food's done. Cool. Alright, what does this look like?
Before we begin, let's clear up the confusion regarding the clutter on my desk.
I think we have a winner here.
The wacky world of MultimediaJay.
Alright, and there's no buzz cut after it, because we haven't done anything. The other assets are still there, though, but I found editing things. So let's talk about this. Just see. So I explained that the pill things on my desk are vitamins, and vitamins, because taking your vitamins is good, and a thing of arthritis Tylenol, which I use to keep my back pain in check, because getting old sucks. Might as well mention that here. But yeah, I mean, I guess the big thing is, I can turn that off too, and lean back in the chair and enjoy the results of our hard work here. So I think the big thing in play here that we got to remember is that you're looking at a laptop panel, so you might want to cross-reference it to what it looks like on a TV or something in case the way it refreshes is a little weird. Also, the thing we had to watch for is the video editing software dropping the frame rate because it was struggling with rendering or something else with the preview or something, but I don't know if that's because I didn't register Corel. Anyways, yeah, Nerdovo. Decent processor, crappy RAM, but it was able to basically be usable. I think you might have trouble with longer videos because and with more assets because of the lack of RAM in this thing. But by and large, for simple YouTube videos, especially short videos under 10 minutes, which a lot of people who don't really know your channel have usually a 5-minute attention span at most, I actually think something like Nerdovo can actually hold its own with video editing. The problem is, like any laptop, it's an appliance. It's not really made to be upgraded all that much. That's really where Dellasaurus Rex is going to really flex its muscle. So we'll save the video that we created just to compare them all later, but now let's get rid of this Corel trial and let's set Nerdovo back to its usual spot as a bedroom TV. Oh boy, that means I have to deal with the Turdshiba next. I might just go to sleep and come back to that one. Whatever. The Turdshiba, an unenviable, sad little excuse for a laptop in today's day and age. AMD A8 APU was cool in 2015, is rubbish in 2022. Except I already have a computer going by that name, so let's not wear it out. 8 gigs of RAM, 6.96 usable, and a problem with the processor thermal throttling when you slam it too much. I am not looking forward to this. The first sign of the Turdshiba's various problems: download speeds throttled by the Ethernet jack only being 10100. There's a reason why I'm cynical about this laptop these days. Epic fail. Here it is. This is everything that I hate about the Turdshiba. It's barely creeping along, temperature range from high 60s to high 70s, and then watch the speeds on the Mullins APU. So when the load goes far above 50%, you start seeing the 2 gigahertz parts drop down and start throttling. So in terms of a secondhand laptop for making YouTube videos, this is probably one of the key reasons not to take this route. Because you might run into a computer, or a laptop I should say, that's having these problems. It really kind of makes it interesting when you think about it with regards to replacing the heatsink compound on your processors every so often, so that it doesn't like dry out or turn into concrete or anything along those lines. Really makes you wonder, you know, how long does thermal material really last in today's world? Especially when, you know, you might not want to put up with a performance degradation like this. Okay, you ready to see some Corel Video Studio on the Turdshiba? This should be entertaining in and of itself. I relinked all the clips, so there should not be a problem whatsoever. But, okay, so... And remember, this is with an SSD. I think I can load everything, because the minute this piece of junk does anything, the processor gets too hot and it starts thermal throttling. Let me actually, while that's going, check the core temps. 23, 23, 21, 23, 23. Well, it's turboing with only 3 of the 4 cores. It's turboing with less of the cores doing more of the work. Oh yeah. Anyways, check how sluggish it loads the environment. Look at this. I'm not trying to drag this clip on any further than that. Oh yeah, you got to click edit. Except it took a second for the click to register. It's having trouble drawing the screen. This is totally. I'm not that nostalgic for like 80s computers or anything. Look, it's still not displaying all the tracks yet. Finally. So it was that much effort just to display everything. What happens if we try to play something? Oh, look at that. Can you imagine what the opener is going to look like when we try and crunch that video?
Something like that. Alright. Let's continue.
It can't display anything properly. No. You know what? I'm not even going to bother with the other file. Let me just take this. That's how long it takes to click. Let me try dragging it to Mississippi. Let's try dragging it back. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Let's click share. How long does it take to bring up the share? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 seconds. Let's see. See users J OneDrive. I don't think I want that, but let's do same as All right, documents. Corel Video Studio. Is it really backing this up to the cloud? Kind of stupid if it is. Turn on the preview. And all right, well, just for laughs, I'm going to let this crunch. But and just see what the video looks like. But I'm not even going to finish the test with this. The Turdshiba is basically living up to its name. So for my colleague, do not cheap out and get a second-hand laptop for something like this, especially consumer grade. You really need some punch in the CPU in order for modern 1080p and higher videos to not be sluggish as all heck. Because this is just rubbish. And we're not even using the computer that I have that name for. So we'll check out the video, see if it has jerkiness in it like this preview is kind of suggesting, and then we'll transition right over to Dellasaurus Rex. But this, I'm not even finishing the test on the Turdshiba. It gets a big red F. Epic fail. Alright, let's see this thing. That's not bad. That's smooth for a render. The render actually worked.
Or something like that. All right.
The problem is going to be putting it together. Yeah, that's about as smooth as it can be at 30 FPS. So here's where the problem is going to come from. The problem is going to be, you can create a finished product, but getting there is going to be sluggish and downright touchy. Plus, what if the program crashes after lagging too much? I think a snappier system is more the sort of thing that one should use with video editing. So, the Turdshiba's out. We're not even going to continue the test. On to the Dellasaurus. You are now looking at the best part of using the Turdshiba for anything. Shutting it down. What a time sucker. Unbelievable. And it's still... okay, now it's off. I say it was still spinning up fans and just making a lot of noise. What a waste. So yeah, big red F on this thing. And no, secondhand laptops, forget it. Okay, it's Dellasaurus time. I expect this to give me far better results. It is once again the following evening, but this time for very different reasons. Last night was an ISP maintenance, and I didn't know it, So I thought my router was getting all messed up. So the network went down, and I spent the rest of the evening trying to fix what I thought was a flaky router, when in reality it was an ISP maintenance. Well, in light of that, I suppose we should get to the network project sooner rather than later, but we still have some Dellasaurus stuff to take care of here, so let's try this again without the internet conking out in the middle of what I'm doing here. Why can't the ISP send, like, text messages or something to customers when it's going to be a maintenance night and the network's going to go down? I mean, these things are, like, a couple months apart, but they're always a surprise. Seriously. Hey, wait a minute. The monitor's not even on. Epic fail. Now that's what I'm talking about. 16 gigs of RAM, i7 Ivy Bridge. Yeah, sure, it's an Ivy Bridge, but it's still a freaking i7. The big thing that I'm looking forward to with Dellasaurus Rex is, yes, it's an old corporate refurb. It's probably going to have Windows 11 problems in a couple of years. But in the meantime, it's probably a nice, cost-effective way to get enough CPU punch in order to do this. Remember, we're doing this with integrated graphics. We could always put the GTX 1050 Ti back in this thing and then see how it does then. But for now, though, let's see how it does with the integrated graphics from the Ivy Bridge era. Unfortunately, because of last night's network issues, my network is limited to 100 megabits instead of being properly a gigabit network. So yeah, there wasn't any examples of us seeing gigabit speed with this download. But it's a download. It'll be faster if your internet is faster. Enough said. Alright, let's see if this is a much better experience than the other computers. Was it beeping at me because of too much CPU? Or is that another system? No way. So the important thing to remember too with the Dellasaurus and Dellasaurus Rex is they have combo drives in them. So they have an SSD running the OS and a hard drive running or just storing data. So even this might be snappier than what's out there. However, there are computers that are being sold on this refurb circuit that actually come with the SSDs. So totally a new thing these days. It's just there's a little bit of overscan because we're back to using analog video, so this isn't going to look totally right. But let's do some relinking here. Alright, well this is definitely the most stylish of the experiences so far. Integrated graphics, what does it look like? Again, jerky on the first clip. Or something like that. Alright! Let's continue. Definitely a smoother experience. Let me try editing this clip down. Got a little bit of time to select it, but it definitely is snappier than even the other laptops and stuff. Keep in mind that Nerdovo actually has a faster processor than Dellasaurus Rex, so maybe editing is a smoother experience with a faster CPU, but overall, with more RAM on this system, even though it's an old system, I think I could definitely edit videos this way. And actually, if I edited videos on Tuxedo, I should definitely be able to edit videos here. Let's see, let's hit save, like you should do a lot when you're editing video in case the software crashes. Let's hit save on this, and let's actually save it somewhere. That pops right up, that's cool. And let's just put it straight over into CUsersJ blah 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 Corel Video Studio. And the whole program crashed. Epic fail. Try number 2? Yeah, please, crash number 2. Epic fail. So I think what's in play here is that I'm trying to hardware accelerate with Intel QuickSync on an Ivy Bridge i7, so let's just do software rendering instead. Click, yes please replace the zero-length file. And turn on the preview. Now it's going. Yeah, it was crashing because this is an Ivy Bridge i7, so it's too old for Intel QuickSync. Newer Intel systems, though, can handle that hardware acceleration pretty well, and it actually does a really good job with compressing the video at certain things and whatnot, or certain file sizes, I should say. On my Skylake system, aka Monolith, it actually does a better job with the hardware acceleration than NVIDIA CUDA. No idea why, because my graphics card is way newer than my processor. But yeah, it looks like this will render using software rendering for the time being. Let's let it do its thing and see what the finished product looks like. Well, this is some pretty good results. So the jerkiness that we saw in the video editor is not represented in the final file. There's just less quality because we couldn't use Intel QuickSync. I don't know what the deal is with Intel QuickSync, but it just makes the compression a lot more efficient, which is one reason why I think a newer Intel processor would probably be better than what Dellasaurus Rex has to offer. But I'd say if my colleague were to go the second-hand route, that something like this is definitely something you should take a very serious look at, even if Windows 11 is going to be a problem in a couple of years. And on that note, D-Sub can now go back in the history books. Let's put the graphics card back in this thing and get back on good old-fashioned HDMI. Much better. Let's just hope that it can stay this way now. Integrated graphics? Nah. Alright, just for fun, with the graphics card now back in the system, what exactly does that do to our experience? Oh, it's snappier. Yeah, it definitely feels snappier here because we're not running integrated graphics, and there can be hardware acceleration where the graphics card helps out, even if it is crap like a 1050 Ti. But let's see, this is still stuttery on the play while it loads up the assets. I'm guessing if we save it, it wouldn't be that different. Let's see, project. Let's also turn on hardware acceleration, and it's already picked NVIDIA CUDA, so it's already referencing that. Let's see, let's just change the name to copy 2. Go. Wow. That's flying through the renders except for the transitions. See how long this takes to render and what this one looks like. Alright, so it's 400 kilobytes smaller, if anyone cares. Like half a 80s floppy disk. Alright, let's see here. Yeah, I'd say it renders okay. I just don't understand, why is NVIDIA CUDA worse than Intel QuickSync? It's like... So I don't know, I suppose it really depends on what kind of quality my colleague's going for with these videos. Buy the full version. Now we're gonna install. We're done with this little Dellasaurus experiment. So I guess, you know, after looking at everything, including putting the graphics card back in this, a newer system with about 16 megs of RAM or higher, or 16 megs, this isn't 1995. A newer system with 16 gigs of RAM, much better, or higher, would be good. And also important to remember, one of the big advantages of something like this is it actually has upgrade pathing available in some areas, but a newer system that was a desktop that was easier to upgrade would actually still offer even more of that kind of stuff for anybody getting into video editing in the first place. Alright, well, I guess we can shut this down and uninstall the software. Actually, what happens when we push the button? Do I have that set back up yet? Yep, shutting down. For a quick shutdown, just push the button when you're done. And there we go. I think. I was getting like the Turdshiba there for a second. So all things considered, definitely something new, 16 gigs of RAM or more, decent processor, Intel, to benefit from Intel QuickSync, which for some reason is a highly efficient thing for crunching video with hardware acceleration. But by and large though, the bottom line with YouTubing is we all gotta start somewhere, and no matter how good the production value, there's always the skill curve to consider. The first couple of videos that you make on YouTube are always going to be cringy when you watch them, perhaps as little as 6 months later. If you're constantly iterating on things, being your own worst critic, and getting better along the way, it's inevitable that you get better. However, you have to slog through a rather cringy beginning in order to get the ball rolling. So, that ends this experiment right here. However, with last night's events, we have something far, far, far more important to work on than tinkering with computers. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay, signing off. Thanks for stopping by.